Shelby, North Carolina released this raw dash cam video of officers pulling Roof over, frisking him.
That's great. What did you do? Did you stay at home? Did you work? Or what did you do?
How you feeling?
Why did you do it?
How'd you feel?
Anything to say?
We're a very loving community. And we're going to reach out to everyone, all victims.
Historic hate crime when 21-year-old Dylan Roof allegedly opened fire in one of the most famous black churches.
Early life. Born in Columbia, South Carolina, Franklin Bennett Roof worked as a carpenter and construction contractor. He was wed to Amelia Amy Cowles. After 10 years of marriage, the couple filed for divorce. Roof had 2 siblings. Mann allegedly suffered verbal and physical abuse at the hands of his father, Bennett Roof. The family temporarily relocated to the Florida Keys between 2005 and 2008, although they still made their home in South Carolina. When Roof was younger, he had obsessive-compulsive behavior. He insisted on getting high school in Lexington among them, at least 7 times. He stopped going to school in 2010 and left, spending his time between using drugs and playing video games. Roof grew up with his stepmother, and he also lived with his brothers, girlfriend, mother, and an old acquaintance on occasion. At his father's request, he had been working as a landscaper, but he left before the slaying. With no work and no driver's license, his maternal uncle, Carson Cowles, expressed concern about his nephew's social disengagement. After his sister's divorce from his father, Roof severed all ties with her and ignored her invitation to a wedding. Despite Roof's racist remarks, a former high school classmate claimed that some of his black friends were there. Roof's prior police record included 2 arrests, both of which occurred in the months before the attack. Mall security at the Columbiana Center in Columbia alerted the police on February 28, 2015, when Roof, dressed entirely in black, posed uncomfortable questions to staff members. Roof was discovered to be in possession of many Suboxone strips, a prescription drug used to treat opiate use disorder, during interrogation. He was taken into custody on a misdemeanor drug possession charge, and the facility banned him for a year. Roof was the subject of an investigation on March 13, 2015, for stopping his automobile in downtown Columbia close to a park. 6 unloaded magazines with a combined capacity of 40 bullets and the forearm grip of an AR-15 semi-auto rifle were discovered by a police officer. Since owning a forearm grip was permitted in South Carolina, Roof was not prosecuted. Roof was detained once more on April 26, 2015 for violating the prohibition by trespassing onto the mall's property. Charleston church slaying. In Charleston, South Carolina, on June 17, 2015, there was a mass slaying at the Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church. 9 people were slayed at a Bible study when Dylan Roof, a white man who lived in the predominantly African-American neighborhood of Eastover and was unemployed, opened fire with a revolver. Roof was inspired by his tirade on Trayvon Martin's demise and the 2015 Baltimore protests that broke out after Freddie Gray passed away while under police custody. Blacks were taking over the world, he added. Roof informed authorities that he nearly did not carry out the slaying because the church study group members had been so kind to him. He admitted to carrying out the Charleston slaying with the goal of inciting a racial conflict. In August 2016, federal prosecutors stated that Roof did not become a member of white supremacist organizations or individuals through his personal interactions with them. Rather, he self-radicalized online.
Difficult trial for many in this community. One of Dylan Roof's relatives got so worked up and upset.
Shelby, North Carolina released this raw dash cam video of officers pulling Roof over, frisking him.
Lawyers admit to it all, saying that he did it and telling us that they may not even call any witnesses.
That's great. What did you do? Did you stay at home? Did you work? Or what did you do?
3 survivors. There were 3 total.
Yeah.
My other charges for trespassing.
Okay, all right.
On June 20, 2015, lastrodesian.com, a website that was registered to Dylan Roof, on February 9, 2015, was found. The location featured a cache of images showing Roof holding a rifle and a Confederate battle flag, in addition to the well-known neo-Nazi code numbers 88 and 1488 scrawled in sand. Additionally, Roof was observed burning and spitting on an American flag. Roof wrote 2 further manifestos that were found in his car and jail cell, respectively, one in 2015 and other while he was incarcerated. With money handed to him on his birthday, Roof bought the arm used in the Charleston church slaying from a retail arms store in West Columbia. He was able to buy the arm because of an FBI background check system malfunction. The federal government was sued by the surviving and bereaved families, and in October 2021, the federal government consented to pay $88 million. After a girlfriend brought up the fact that her boyfriend was on probation, Roof's friends abandoned their attempt to conceal the arm. After analyzing Roof's confiscated computer and cell phone, the FBI discovered that he was communicating online with other white nationalists. The Christchurch slaying slayer, Brenton Tarrant, named Roof as an influence in his manifesto, although the Southern Poverty Law Center, the Council of Conservative Citizens, and the Northwest Front denounced Roof's acts.
We're a very loving community, and we're going to reach out to everyone, all victims. How you feeling?
Why did you do it?
How'd you feel?
Anything to say?
At some point in time, not only to help those that are victims, but to also help his family as well.
Capturing and prosecution. After Walter Scott was shot, Dylan Roof, a former police officer, was taken into custody in Shelby, North Carolina. The FBI was contacted to help with the investigation and manhunt after the incident, which was considered a hate crime. Roof was apprehended after a traffic stop some 245 miles away from the slaying site. During the arrest, a .45 caliber handgun was discovered in the car, although it wasn't immediately clear if this was the same weapon used in the attack. Debbie Dills, a driver, gave police a tip after recognizing Roof operating his vehicle. After phoning her employer, who in turn phoned the local police, she followed the suspect's vehicle for 35 miles until she was positive that the police were approaching her home to make an arrest. After being taken into custody, FBI investigators questioned Roof. When his interrogators told him that 9 people had died as a result of his attack, he did not at first trust them because he thought there had been fewer casualties. According to an unnamed source, Roof spent almost 6 months planning the attack, studying Emmanuel AME Church and choosing it as his target due to its significance in African American history. Roof's attorney submitted a motion in 2016 claiming that the federal statutes pertaining to the ending penalty were unconstitutional.
Stainless steel French door refrigerator, only $9.99. And LG 55-inch TV.
It was raised in federal court previously, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was raised pursuant to a letter that you...
The kind, spirited person that he is. He...
have you explained to your client the charges contained in the various indictments?
Historic hate crime when 21-year-old Dylan Roof allegedly opened fire in one of the most famous black churches.
Following their response, federal prosecutors scheduled a hearing for September 1, 2016. On September 1, District Judge Richard Gergel called a hearing to be held in camera to decide whether or not to admit certain potentially explosive material. On November 25, 2016, a federal judge granted Roof's request for pro se counsel, ruling him competent to stand trial. Roof was found guilty in December 2016 of slaying individuals at a church and given the ending penalty. He was imprisoned at USP Terre Haute before being released on bond.
Up around 11 o'clock, the Dylan Roof, who was acting as his own attorney, decided not to call any witnesses.
Here on site to work through the process of getting Mr. Roof back to South Carolina. In custody, where he will always remain.
Freedom to be full what God intends us to be, and have a quality in the sight of God.
Emmanuel, who testified. So that was the beginning phase of the sentencing phase today.
Roof is still competent to stand trial and represent himself, according to Judge Gergel, who had rejected a request to label him incompetent. Roof was officially condemned to demise on January 11, 2017, following the jury's recommendation that he receive the ending penalty. Roof was too disconnected from reality to represent himself at the federal trial, according to Roof's attorneys, who started the appeal process before the United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit. They said he suffered from schizophrenia spectrum illnesses, autism, anxiety, and depression, among other conditions, and that he was unconcerned with his sentence because he thought white nationalists would free him from jail during an imminent racial conflict. Roof's appeal was unanimously denied by a Fourth Circuit panel on August 25, 2021, maintaining the ending penalty. His counsel filed an appeal of the judge's verdict on September 10, 2021, but the case was turned down by a federal court. Roof's counsel requested that the Supreme Court settle their disagreement with their client about the mental illness defense on March 2, 2022.
I have earlier on.
In your opinion, does he understand the charges, the punishment, and the Constitution?
Who typically 21-year-olds communicate via social media. It's extremely important to seize their computers.
The defense, keep in mind the ability to assist and willingness to cooperate is not the same.
Human being who would go into a place of worship and people would pray.
And ask, where's the minister?
He asked that.
He asked, where's the minister?
Our church will get through it. It's tough times, but I know for a fact everybody will press on.
Attack in prison. Roof was beaten by a fellow prisoner on August 4, 2016, when he was being held at the Charleston County Detention Center. After being inspected by jail medical staff, Roof, who had blown and bruises to his face and body, was cleared to return to his cell and was not gravely hurt. The attacker was identified as Dwayne Marion Stafford, a 25-year-old who was awaiting trial for strong arm robbery and first-degree assault. In order to get to Roof, Stafford had to climb out of his unlocked cell, through a steel cell door with a small vertical window, and descend stairs into the jail's protective custody section. Two of the jail officers who were supposed to accompany Roof had left. One was on break, and the other had been ordered away to complete another task, leaving him alone at the scene of the incident. According to Roof's lawyer, they had no intention of filing charges. 18 months after his first apprehension, Stafford was freed on a bond of more than $100,000 the night following the attack. That's all for this video, folks. See you next time.